Um, I have got some training and teaching in Zoom. I was one of those teachers that had to teach for a year in Zoom, fifth graders, which was, as some of you might know, is a bit of a nightmare. So okay, so we're going to be sharing our successes and challenges. We're going to be exploring strategies for teaching. So not just talking about it, we're going to be talking about things that you can do with your students as well. And discussing and developing plans for implementation. We'll be breaking back out into these groups, into the breakout rooms, where you can discuss actual plans that you can create together to actually implement emotional literacy in your classrooms. It's not as hard as you think it's going to be. Okay. You can share in, I'm just going to ask a question, and if you want to write it in the chat, you can. We're going to, and Liberty will read these out as we go. What kind of emotions do you all teach daily in your classrooms? Go ahead and write that in the chat. What kind of emotions do you all teach in your classrooms?
All right, we have empathy, all of them. Calm, enthusiasm, awe, frustrated is a big one. Happy, appreciation, kindness, all of them wonderful. Good emotions to teach. Any more?
If you're one of those that said all of them, is there a specific one you prefer to teach or you'd like to teach the most? Oh. Wow, situational.
Situational, emotional training based on scenarios. However, we talk about emotions all day. Great. Oh, my screen is disappearing as they're coming.
Coming in fast.
Mostly we work through sadness, frustration, exhaustion, justice in the eyes of a child, but not forgetting to catch the good. Of course, always. Friends, caring, happy, sad, upset, appreciation, empathy, kindness, worrying, mad, frustrated, angry, happy, frustrated, sad, exhausted, calming. I see lots of common emotions. We work on telling our friends how we feel. Frustrated is the one we work on, I feel like, daily, because I have a strong-willed group. Trust me, I have been there. Been there.
Yeah. I think that was one of the main ones we were training my daughter on, was how to express frustration versus just screaming and running around and throwing things. So, and hitting us. Yeah. Last call. Oh, Maureen, did you have something to say? Or are you just fixing something? Oh, I just saw your hand. So I was, okay, you're just touching something on your screen. Okay. Okay. Anybody have anything else to say before we move on?
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. All right. If you have anything else to write it in there. It's fine. Liberty can always interrupt me. I have no problem with that. We want to make sure that all your voices are heard, you know. Okay. So before we get into like the full definition of what emotional literacy is, we want to show you what kind of practices we're basing this presentation and what in all the teaching methods we're showing you today are based from. So this is the infant, toddler, and preschool early learning teaching practices for teaching emotions. This is what we as coaches work with teachers on. in the classroom. And a big part of this is uses a variety of strategies to teach about emotions. Um, and this is not just teaching emotions, but teaching them how, how to label. This is going to be labeling, not just showing a word, but showing what it looks like, modeling, and discussions. And this is not just you teaching the kids with each other, with themselves. You're teaching them how to recognize it with you as well. Um, it's really important, of course, to show, what, especially when it comes to labeling, it's important to show more than just words for this, because every person expresses one emotion a little bit differently. So we got to teach the kids how to look at each other's faces really well with each other. This is especially important for children who may face autism, and learning how to recognize each other's faces for expressions. We're also looking at validating children's emotions. Um, it's really easy as adults to kind of brush off each other's feelings. But with children, everything they're feeling is valid. I mean, it's their experience. They don't, they're so young that everything they're feeling is extremely strong for them. Everything is either wonderful or devastating or full of furiousness. And they don't know how to, moderate, down to the level that we are at. So it's important for us to validate or show them we understand their emotions and things. Responding immediately, it's not just when you're hearing that kid screaming from across the playground. It's also recognizing when a kid is sitting by themselves and looking kind of glum. Encouraging toddlers to talk about how they feel. And I know it's like, well, toddlers and babies can barely talk, but they can, they can emote a little bit. They can talk, partial words, they can show with their faces. So we're saying talk, it's not just sounds, it's not just actual words, it's sounds. Individualized instruction. This is where you come into like children with autism or children who just in general have a hard time connecting with other children. You may have to make adjustments to how you're teaching emotions to them. We're also using number 7, using a variety of strategies to teach, that word again, teach children how to recognize and understand emotions in themselves. So not just their peers, not just the teachers, but also in themselves. Like you all have said, teaching frustration is a big one. Teaching them how to recognize when they're feeling something before it becomes volcanic, basically. Pay attention to those moments where they're starting to get worked up, so that they can express that they're getting frustrated. That way we know that they're trying to control. Like I said, if you've got one of these kids who is explosive or volcanic, you teach them how to tell you that before it gets to the point where they're flipping chairs and hitting people. Does that mean it's going to necessarily, calm them down completely? No, but this is all done in incremental steps where it's important to recognize that even the smallest change is significant for each child. So in this, you're going to be using a variety of strategies to teach children to recognize emotions in themselves and others during large or small group activities. This can be done in so many different ways: books, songs, modeling, visual cues, role-playing, discussions, sitting on the floor with them during kitchen time and playing with the dolls or something. That helps, teach them emotions. Uses naturally occurring opportunities to teach children to recognize emotions in themselves and others. Those moments when you're reading books and a character has an emotion and you can talk about that emotion, or if you are having an emotion. I know that there is a tendency to tell teachers that they should hide all of their emotions, that we should all be kind of one way as a teacher. It is important, though, for your students to know when you are feeling something, whether that be happiness or sadness or frustration. The important thing is that you're showing them how to actually go about having those emotions in a healthy way. You can be mad about something. You can express that something is making you unhappy. You're just then taking that moment and showing them how to do it in a healthy way. Um, you're again validating children's emotions by labeling or repeating them and encouraging children to talk about how they're feeling. Max, I know you're mad. I know you're mad that we can't go outside right now because it's raining. I am so sorry that it's raining. We can't control it, and you're right to be frustrated. So how about we find something else to do? Letting him know that you are aware that he's upset about something shows him that you're listening, and that's one of the biggest things these kids want is for you to hear them. And then we have individualized instruction, once again, helping children recognize emotions in themselves before it gets insane or to the point where they don't want to trust you. You want these kids to trust you, and helping them to recognize these emotions also shows them that they can trust sharing those emotions with you. Okay. I see a couple of things in the chat. I just want to make sure I haven't lost anybody. Oh, yeah, getting some comments in there. Maureen says, I love making the lessons fascinating so I can hear, wow, I want to do that. And enthusiasm, I agree, children need to see adults feel all emotions and respond appropriately. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep going. Sorry, I'm having issues with my mouse again. Come back, mouse. Okay. How many of you are familiar with the classroom assessment scoring system? You can either just wave at me or write in the chat if you need to.
Okay, we got a couple waves via video. We have a me from Lauren, me from Lakeisha.
Some of you raising your hands in the Zoom, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's relatively new to both Liberty and I as well. It can be very frustrating, but it is, if you're not familiar with it, it's no, come back. Sorry, I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to do that. Okay. If you're not familiar with it, it's a way that shows how, specifically for emotions, it teaches emotion. Teaching emotions will help with creating positive relationships, emotional expression, decrease negative climate, and responsive caregiving. So when class is looking for how you teach emotions, it's looking for those specific things. It's how you are handling those emotions in the moment. We can't completely control everything our kids are doing. We can do everything right as far as what class says we should be doing. And you can still have a kid pitching a fit on the floor. So what we look for when we're looking for, class alignment is are you doing everything you can in that moment to help alleviate the situation? Okay. Sorry. All right, definition. Emotional literacy is the ability to identify, understand, and respond to emotions in oneself and others in a healthy way. This is from the National Center for Pyramid Model Implementation. So biggest thing here is emotional literacy has to be taught. It's got to be one of the first things you do in the classroom before anything academic is working on that emotional literacy. And I don't want you sitting here thinking, oh, maybe I haven't been doing it enough this year. It's fine. You can just pick up and start from there. A lot of teachers have to pick up and do something different in the middle of the year, and that's fine. Or you get new students. And you can just pick up and start this to work on just to get things better with your kids. So an example, imagine your group of 3-year-old children being able to tell you they feel sad today and why, versus them not being able to tell you how they feel or why they feel. So let me rephrase that better. I just was reading from a page. Imagine your class right now not being able to tell you how they're feeling. And you may have that class. You may have like little tiny ones. You may have some kids, or some of your kids may not be able to communicate well with you, how they're feeling. Imagine how much easier things would be if they could communicate better with you. I would love it if my daughter, who's 4, could tell me how frustrated she is that she can't go to the park today because it's too cold, instead of her pitching a fit and flipping things in my in my kitchen. Um, but I gotta do a better job of teaching her how to do that. And it is getting better. It is getting better. But she's an emotional child. And that's something that I'm striving to do. And it's what we do as teachers. We want everyone to kind of, be a little bit more chill. Okay. All right. Emotional literacy goes to, if you have positive outcomes for children who have emotional literacy, greater academic achievement. Children who are better, who have a more easier time expressing their emotions, have been found throughout endless research to have greater academic achievement. And when I say, I'm not just throwing out the words greater, I mean research. I mean, this is research from class, pyramid, teapots, all these things that we use, that the Early Learning Coalition uses as well. Also from the Anita Zucker Foundation. And it's because if a child is struggling in school, say like you have your child, student now, where they're in 5th grade and they're stuck on their insane math work. And I have taught that insane math work. And some of you who are parents know that 5th grade math work is a nightmare. If they don't know how to express to you that they're frustrated because they don't understand something, they're going to be more likely to just shut down and not try. And that failure rate rises when they don't know how to express their frustration. They're more focused, healthier, less impulsive. Kids who understand their own emotions more they have an easier time regulating those emotions. They have an easier time letting go of frustration or letting go of sadness and moving on past it. And they'll become less impulsive too, because they know how to then, if they know how to deal with their own emotions, they know how to express their emotions. They then have better outlets instead of being aggressive or eating through their emotions or doing other kinds of things like that. There's lots of interesting habits that children pick up: nail biting, lots of things, tics that people pick up because they don't know how to express a certain emotion. Anxiety is one of the biggest ones that kids have that they don't know how to work through. And you see a lot of those kinds of impulses there. And then they engage in less destructive behavior. People are less, children are going to be less aggressive towards each other, towards their parents, towards things in the world in general, if they have a better emotional understanding of not just themselves, but of others. Okay, so we're going to, here in a minute, go into breakout rooms, okay? And we'll put y'all in there, don't worry about it. And then I'll hit pause on the video. In the groups, you're going to, oh, actually, this is Liberty. You go ahead and tell them what we're going to do.
All right, for the first breakout, we are going to answer a couple of questions about emotions, such as which ones are easier for you to teach, what's challenging for you, and then we'll come back and if anyone wants to share.
Okay, so everyone's heading back in. Heard some really good discussions between the 2 rooms that I was in. I hated leaving the one that I was in just now. Y'all were really talking about some good stuff. And some real frustrations that we have when if I'm not going to share the details, but we were discussing um, when you have that one kid who can influence the rest of the class's behavior. We've we've all done that. Some of us have been that child, and it is hard to know how to handle it when you have one small person who can turn the heads of every other small person in the room, and you feel powerless in those moments, and it can be really tough to figure out how to reach to them because not one way works for every kid. I've heard a lot of teachers try to do um, giving that child like co-teacher responsibilities, giving them like letting them show the younger ones or the other ones how to act. It can work and it cannot work. Some kids they really get into it. But some they see right through you. They're like, oh, you're trying to control me. Some of you have those smart kids that can do that. Okay. We're gonna keep going. I've already hit record. So all right. We've already done breakout rooms. Whoops. Let me get past that. I apologize. Okay. We're now going to explore strategies for teaching emotions. What to teach. You want to teach, that feelings change. You can feel one way about something one day and it can change the next. You can have more than one feeling about something. That's a really hard one for little kids to understand, is that they can be feeling two different emotions at the same time. And you can feel differently than someone else, especially when it comes to things like triggers for kids, whether it's like things that trigger fear or sadness. Something that might trigger fear for one kid is not going to trigger fear for another kid. My daughter's scared of butterflies, but not of big dogs. I don't know. And that's just not the same for everybody. And that despite how you might feel or how the other kids might feel about something, their feelings are valid. I don't understand why my daughter's scared of butterflies. It feels kind of silly to me, but her feelings are valid. She's got something that's making her be scared of them, and so her feelings are valid on that.
Sorry to interrupt. Please share your screen, Amanda.
I'm sorry.
I don't think we can see your screen. Please share the PowerPoint.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Okay. They're just looking at me. Yeah, they're looking at me. All right. Can y'all see? No? Wait, what do y'all see?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, good. Whew, that was weird. Okay. It's not showing me. I apologize. Yes, I kind of went over this. Okay, great. Is it moving? Yay. You want to make sure you're teaching things before there's a problem. I know you think, well, there's already a problem. I'm already here. The moment some of these kids know they walk into your room for the first time, there's a problem. And we can't avoid that. But if you anticipate there could be an issue with something, go ahead and teach that problem before it happens. If you hear about a situation today from another teacher that you haven't experienced yet, go ahead and teach that. Teach how you can respond to that. Figure out how you can handle those things. We're going to talk about when during the day we might teach these skills. For example, you may have a kid, Jacob is drawing a picture with markers. Zion comes to Jacob's desk and decides that he needs the marker that Jacob is using. We have dealt with that. They just take things from each other. Zion grabs the marker and Jacob's picture gets a marker line across it. Jacob hits Zion and Zion starts to yell and get the teacher's attention. What might you say to the kids at this point when they're all worked up? What is something you might say to the kids when they're yelling at each other?
I like to state what I hear first I hear loud voices. I wonder what's going on. Come a little closer. I see a mad face on Zion or Jacob. I see a mad face on Jacob. Zion, do you know what happened?
Mhm. Yeah. We've heard the calm words thing, that kind of thing. I've heard some really great ones where they're just telling each other just to say, "Hey, that's my picture." Yeah, like you said. Um, we want to try to anticipate when things could happen. So if you're about and the best point to do this is before you start an activity. So before you start centers, go around each center and think what kind of problems can arise in these centers. And so that when you're presenting the center to your students, trying to be aware of what to teach them in this moment. If you got your kids in kitchen center, they shouldn't, guys, you need to make sure you're not hitting each other with the toys. Use the toys appropriately. Um, that kind of stuff. Make sure we're not yanking things from what we're sharing. We're working as a team. Okay, those kinds of things. Um, we don't want to wait until there's a crisis. Um, we want to be able to give them those skills, those reminders, those prompts before we get to this point. If you do get to this point, you can then have that ability, like if they're yelling at each other over the markers and they're hitting each other and about to tear the paper, you have already taught those ways to react. And then when you get to them, you can then remind them of those things. That way they heard you, they remember you saying it, you can then have them use those in the moment. So they may still explode, but they now have that tool to then backtrack and try to handle the emotion differently. We want to make sure we're practicing before and even happen and practicing after. We can't, like I said, we can't avoid every issue. You can teach and teach and teach, and the kids can still do something crazy, and that's not a great reaction. You still want to take that moment to teach them how to appropriately respond the next time it happens. Okay. Ways that we can teach. We have direct teaching, which is intentionally planned lessons to teach children how they, about their feel, how they feel. This would be done like in circle time. And I know that we have like a schedule that we have to keep in circle time, but you can omit one or two things here and there to work in emotional literacy. We don't have to talk about the weather every day. It's Florida. It's most of the time it's hot. The kids know it's hot. If you know that this is like the same weather every day, work in that emotional literacy. Um, you want to help children discriminate between different feelings. They need to know the difference between mad and sad. They need to know the difference between being frustrated and mad. We tell my daughter, you're allowed to be frustrated. You're not allowed to throw your dolls across the room. There's a difference. You're allowed to show me that you're angry, but you can't be destructive because of that. Show pictures of children and adults expressing feelings and point out facial features that portray different feelings. You can do drawings and illustrations. I would mix it up. Mix up drawings from books or cartoon characters, even. Cartoon characters are the best to use, but also mix in pictures of other children. If you have permission from their parents, mix in their own emotions. How you can even create their own like little emotional charts. Reads children's literature and discusses feelings experienced by those characters. Then we have indirect teaching. This is identifying and labeling feelings with everyday activities. These naturally occurring opportunities that arise throughout the day, not planned things. Changing a diaper, and the kid's frustrated with you at changing the diaper because he wants to play. That's a good time to teach emotions. This is not just teaching, pointing out their emotions. You want to model your own emotions too. Point out when something they do makes you happy. If something makes you laugh, tell them. Tell them, Betsy, that cartwheel made me smile. Or um, your laugh made me happy, made me laugh. Things like that as well. Not just you're making me sad or you're making me mad. And you also want to make sure you're pointing out your facial expression. When you're saying it's making me happy, or it's making me mad, show them what that looks like. You're going to see them starting to imitate your facial expressions. It's going to be hilarious. Yeah. And you can also do this through songs and games. There's lots of songs and games about emotions, and feeling check-ins where you just come up to them and say, hey, hey, Billy, how you feeling? How you feeling right now? You look kind of sad. Are you sad? Okay. Using children's books. There's lots of different books that we have here if you need them. This is one of the examples that we have. Glad Monster, Sad Monster. And this is just one of the many books. And Book Nooks is an example of activities that expand on social emotional concepts while reading the book during story time. A different concept from the book with a related center activity also is listed with Book Nook. And you can actually reread the book over more than one day. Kids like it when you reread the same book over and over again. I know that's kind of repetitive to us, but the more you read a book to them, the more they glean from it, the more they take from it. And they actually have different activities for these books. So you can read the book one day, have one activity, read the book the second day, have another activity. They're able to retell it. They're able to remember what's going to happen next, all that kind of stuff. Games. We have a feelings wheel that can kind of go through different emotions. It demonstrates many of the way these things demonstrates many of the ways feeling faces can be used to support teaching emotional literacy in the classroom. You can make several different versions of this just to show that there's different kinds of faces for each thing. And you actually take an old Kleenex box, and you can paste pictures of emotions on an old Kleenex box, and you can make several of these. And the kids can toss them, and they can tell you what that face is. They don't have to remember the word, but they can say if you land on excited, they can, oh, that's excited. And they can show you what that feels like on their face. The feeling spinner is also another thing that you can do here. They can take turns showing you the different emotions. Or acting them out. Okay. Again, feeling check-ins. We talked about this. How are you feeling today? I've seen a lot of people do this where they have clips where when the kids come in the morning, they move their clip to show how they're feeling when they come in the classroom. This is a great way for teachers to be able to assess what their kids may need, in the mornings when they come in and everything's kind of hectic, so that it's not just you going, Jaden looked like he felt kind of mad when he came in this morning. I'm gonna have to remember that, but then you forget it. Well, if he put his clip on mad, you're gonna remember that, and you can come back to him and find out how he's feeling. This is another version of it. There's several versions you can do. I like the ones with the mirror. I've seen this one a few times where they move their clip and everything. Okay, another version of it. Okay, now we have, how much more time do we have, Liberty?
2 minutes.
We can push a little bit. It's okay. It's okay. We'll try to go a little fast here. Okay, I'm so sorry about that. So we're gonna condense down this breakout room where we're going to have y'all discuss. You think about, I'm going to put you on the same groups, and you're going to discuss some of the problems that you talked about, and come up with some ideas for each other to try to help you solve those problems, those issues, or to offer advice on how to do that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put y'all in. can't remember how to do it. I'm gonna pause my. Okay, so this is just a couple of resources that you can send home with parents to kind of talk about the importance of labeling emotions. Um, these are good things to send home. And all of these are linked. Oop, and wrap up. Okay.
Will
So
you
today,
send those, will they be sent to our email where we can print them out?
so this PowerPoint is going to be, Liberty, do you remember what Lexi said, how this is going to get to them?
Let's see. I can try to drop the PowerPoint in the chat box for them.
Because I know that we are, oh, that's what we're dropping in here. Yeah, we're dropping it in here now. This will be available to all of you either way, I think via email. I'll double check on that. It is always available to all of you after the presentation.
Right.
That way, those are you here who get what you need here. Okay. We're losing people. All right, I get it. People gotta go. I know people.
Okay. Before everyone leaves, if you did have someone that was joining you on your video, let me know. I have dropped 2 resources in the chat box for you. Very important, if you need the credit for in-service hours, you will need to fill out this link that I'm going to drop in the chat box to get your 1 hour of in-service. You will have to click the link, fill out the evaluation to get your credit. And I'll do that now.
Can you mail it to us, please?
Are you emailing it to us? Yeah.
She's gonna drop it in. The link is being dropped in the chat box.
But we're not gonna receive it in an email?
You will actually receive the in-service transcript or the certificate, yes. But in order,
No, I'm saying the form. Can
The
you just mail it to us? Because right now it's a dismissal time. And
Right.
it's a busy time for me to try and fill it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm gonna try and fill it out, but yeah.
okay, I
Yeah,
know.
we can do that. That's fine. Yeah. We'll
Can
email.
you email it, you say?
Yes, we can do that.
Yeah, that'll be easier. Cause
That would be a lot easier.
Thank you for that feedback.
Yeah, we will share that with our supervisor as well. So
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
yes.
thank you. I'm sorry we went over a little bit. I know this is a hard
No,
time
no.
for you all. So yeah.
Thank
That's
you. It helped
fine.
with
Thank
for
you.
me as well because I'm in pickup time now.
Thank you.
You said you dropped the link in the chat. I don't even see the link. I don't see the link in the chat. I'm trying to go to the chat, but I don't see the link.
You're right, it's not allowing me to paste. Amanda, will you try?
Okay. Yep. I'll do it. It's not letting you do it.
I'm
That's
like, what
crazy.
am I doing? I'm like, see, this is what I'm talking about.
It will
Like
not
I
let.
said, this is our first time doing this.
This is fine.
Yeah.
If you email it, that would be great also.
Yeah, we're doing the presentation the way that our supervisor showed us how to do. So we will make some notes here. Okay, I'm about to drop it in. AC, just want to get it from here. Hopefully it'll let me do it.
Okay.
Okay. Yay, sent. Okay.
Okay. It
There
would
it is, everybody. And I'll stay on in case we'll stay on in case you have a couple of any questions or anything.
Okay.
Once you're done, you're done. You're good to go. And we'll send you all those emails.
We have your emails too.
Say it again.
We have your email.
Okay, good. Because just in case, I don't know what may happen while I'm filling it out, but you say you'll be on here because usually when you get off of it, that's it. We lost it. SBA like, oh Lord, you see? So I cannot see. Jesus help me. Hmm. Yes, I guess we training this was to this. Yes. Yeah. Okay. I don't know what to teach.
I'll go ahead and hit stop on the record.